What a powerful message from our colleague Marcellus Wiley. But we're back with Mr. Hezzy himself, Antoine Walker. It's time to run the fast break. Let's go to the Lakers, and they got it done last night without AD again up here in Minnesota. Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder stepped up big, and LeBron said after the game, having one of our biggest pieces out, everyone came in and chipped in a little bit more. So Antoine, or should I say Mr. Hesitation himself, are you buying that the Lakers supporting cast can continue to step up in AD's absence?
Definitely. I do believe their supporting cast can step up. This is a different Laker team because they're not as big as they were last year. When you think about Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee coming off the bench. Marc Gasol played extended minutes last night, played 30 minutes, made 3 threes last night. He's going to probably be asked to play a little bit more because they lack size. They'll probably play a little bit more small ball where you add Markieff Morris to the mix, and then Tyler Horton is going to come in and play more. But I believe this second unit is very capable, and they'll be able to hold the fort down when LeBron James is out of the game. But LeBron played 38 minutes last night. That's a little concerning. I don't know if you want LeBron playing 38 minutes every night. You might want to keep him around 33, 34. But with AD out and LeBron's competitive spirit, he's going to probably push the envelope a little bit because LeBron wants to win. That's what makes LeBron special, and that's what separates himself from everybody in the league. But I think this second unit is going to be very good and very capable of holding the fort down without AD.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Antoine, and say yes, because this is what LeBron James does. He has always made role players better. And when Kyrie Irving's out in Cleveland, they still win. When Dwayne Wade was out in Miami, they still win. Regular season games. I'm not saying he can lift a team like this to the championship, but he certainly can win regular season games. Here's what I'm really interested in seeing, though. And I alluded to this earlier. The Lakers are just 5-6 against teams with winning records. They've been beating up on the bad teams and the bottom dwellers in the NBA, and that's with AD. Now they got Brooklyn coming up, Utah, Portland, Golden State, and Phoenix, all within the next couple weeks. They're going to have to play those games without AD. I want to see how good this Lakers team can play against those top-flight opponents, and can LeBron still lift the role players to victories over those teams?
Yeah, I'm with both of you guys. I think LeBron and these guys in this unit can step up big and continue to hold down the fort. However, I like, again, what Dennis Schroeder and what Montrezl Harrell has been able to do. That's the expectation. We expect Montrezl Harrell to step up a little bit more. We expect Dennis Schroeder to step up a little bit more, be asked to score a little bit more. But the guy that has to play better, in my opinion, is Kyle Kuzma. And he just hasn't done that for me. Averaging 10 points in this stretch will run that you just mentioned, the players or the teams that they're going to be facing this upcoming stretch. Kyle Kuzma needs to get to around that 15, 17-point mark for them to be comfortably working with LeBron James and not allowing him to play those 38 minutes that you mentioned, Antoine. And so for me, I think it works, but it's putting a lot of stress on a player who's older. Yes, can he get it done? Has he shown that he can continue to get it done? Yes, but this is not what he wants to be doing at this stage in his career, Antoine.
Well, look, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the worst thing in the world if they don't, win a lot of these games. I don't think the Lakers should be looking at this like, we have to protect this number 1 or number 2 seed. All right, we got to go all out. And you guys are talking about LeBron's minutes. I still would want to keep him around 34, maybe 36 minutes. I don't want him out there playing 38 minutes every night. I understood it a week ago when they had these overtime games, but I don't think that should become the habit because the Lakers can win without the home court advantage. All right, we don't even know how many fans are going to be in the stands anyway come playoff times, and the Lakers are the best road team in the league. So they shouldn't overload LeBron during this stretch. But you're right, Greg. Kuzma's got to step up and show consistency. He's played well of late, but then last night he goes for 7 points. I'm not worried about Schroeder and Harrell. I know they can put up numbers, but I need Kuzma to play well, and I need KCP to come out of that slump. Not just to win games now, but I'm going to need him later in the season, especially come playoff time. You saw he was big in the finals, so I want to get his confidence up and get him out of this three-point slump that he's in.
That's a great...
Make definitive statements about the Nets right now when they aren't playing their big star players. You know, it's either two of them. Last night, obviously, it was one of them. So it's hard. They've only played 7 games together with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. They're 5-2. But when all 3 of those guys aren't on the floor, even in a great win like last night, it's hard to read too much into it. Look, Joe Harris was great, 22 points. Jeff Green was fantastic, 18 points, 11 in the fourth quarter. But their roles will change. Tyler Johnson was good too. But all of those guys' roles will change, as will James Harden's. He's not going to score 38 when those two are there. So I have to put that out there, and I got to throw this out as well. I'm starting to worry that they're not playing together enough. They've only, as I said, 7 games. It's reminding me of the Clippers last year, how they weren't practicing a lot together. They weren't playing a lot together, and they kind of felt like they could just get on the court with their star players and everything was going to fit. And the Nets seem to be going that route as well. So I'm a little bit concerned there. But as far as a takeaway, I'm going to go with the defense. We know that is their biggest challenge, and they're not going to be a great defensive team, but they can be adequate. And that's all they need, is to be adequate and to get stops when necessary, to be capable of getting stops late in the game when they have to. And they did it last night. They held Phoenix to about 44% shooting in the second half, held them scoreless in the last 2.5 minutes. Devin Booker, the great Devin Booker, 0 points in the fourth quarter. So they showed that when push comes to shove, Antoine, they can turn on the defense.
My biggest takeaway, Chris, and I loved a lot of the things that you talked about, but it was about the others and James Harden. But it was the others to me. I think the Jeff Greens, the Joe Harris, the Tyler Johnsons, those guys do not get any recognition, and they probably will not get any all season long. But to go on the road, to play a red-hot team like the Phoenix Suns, and to come back from 24 and multiple guys make big plays late in the games is a confidence booster. Because a person that was a part of a championship team like myself, where Shaq and D. Wade got all the individual accolades, it's always good throughout the season to have a game where the others step up and get you a big win, especially on the road. On the other half of that, I thought James Harden was incredible. Continued to play with a good pace, regardless when they were down 24, stayed on their attack mode, got other guys involved. But we've seen that for the last 7-8 years in Houston, him have these type of performances. But I think it's good for him to do it. It's good for Kyrie and Kevin to do it, to be on the bench, and just to see the team camaraderie that they build. I think you alluded to something that's very important, though. I do worry a little bit about everything that's going on with them off the court, where guys are not actually playing. You got, obviously, protocol. They need to get some consistency going if they're going to make a real run and try to win a title. But right now, last night was a huge win and a statement win for that others, the others that was out there that played really well for them.
For me, it was all about James Harden. And I hear you, Antoine. The others did step up, but it was because of the facilitation of James Harden and his ability to get them open in position where they could be most effective, getting DeAndre Jordan easy buckets at the rim, Harris outside, Johnson. Everyone was able to be a role player, but be an effective role player because of the penetration, because of the scoring ability of James Harden. And this is why you do everything you can to acquire a guy like this. The Nets knew And Chris, I totally get your sentiments when it comes to them all playing together, because you got to build that chemistry in order to have deep runs, and that's what this team is built to do. But this is why you get a guy like James Harden, because you knew you weren't going to play Kevin Durant on back-to-back nights. You knew Kyrie was going to kind of be in and out. And so you acquire a guy like James Harden, who has always been able to get buckets and remind people that Harden is Harden. Nothing's changed. We know he is one of the most elite scorers in the NBA, and this is nothing new for him. So for him to be able to have a showing like this last night, I wasn't surprised. I was impressed by that. The rest, I mean, they do have to figure that out and how they're going to get these guys on the court and building that chemistry, because when it matters most is in the playoffs. It can't be this.